So what we want to do right now is connect the path of our Mendeley desktop client to the two folders that we put in our Dropbox account, the Mendeley files folder and the watch folder. So if we zoom out and think about what we've actually done at this point, we have the Mendeley desktop client, which is synced to the Mendeley cloud service. Similarly, we have the Dropbox desktop client that's synced to the Dropbox cloud client. And so with that, what we can actually do now is we can work locally on our computer and use everything locally with our local desktop clients, but everything we're doing is actually being synced to the Dropbox and to the Mendeley cloud services. So what that allows us to do now is that we can work on any computer at any point, and we can work either virtually in the cloud for both services, or we could work locally on a desktop client. And so that provides us a lot of security in terms of being able to back everything up in order to run everything. So whether or not we're working at the library, whether we're working on a laptop, whether or not we're working in a research lab or in a computer, what we don't want to do is have to store several files in multiple places and then have to check everything and back everything up. Being able to work both on the cloud and locally on our home computer allows us that flexibility to be able to use one thing at one time and not have to worry at all about anything being backed up. So right now what we want to do is connect that path to our from our desktop client to the cloud. And in order to do that, I'm going to click on Mendeley Preferences, and I'm going to go to the Watched Folders tab. Now what we want to do is connect the watch folder that we have in Dropbox to the watch folder path of Mendeley. So in order to do that, we're going to click on our desktop here, and we're going to go to Users, and this is my user file. And we're going to come down to Dropbox. Because we stored it locally, it's showing up on our computer. We're going to click on Dropbox, and we can see that there are multiple files or multiple file folders in Dropbox. So I'm going to click on the Mendeley watch folder. And now I know, I'm going to click OK, and now I know that the path is synced from the desktop to our Dropbox folder. And now we want to do the same thing for our main files. So anytime we drag a PDF or upload a bibliography or do anything on our desktop client, those hard copy files are actually going to be stored in our Dropbox service. So we're going to go up to Mendeley, and we're going to go to Preferences, and we're going to go to File Organizer and see where it says Organize My Files. We're going to make sure that that is checked, and we're going to browse. And now we can look for our Dropbox folder, and once again, because it's stored locally, it shows up on our hard disk. We're going to go to Dropbox, and we're going to connect it to Mendeley Files, and we're going to click Choose. And so now I know that the path is selected for anything that I use on my desktop is automatically going to be backed up, not only on the cloud server, but it's going to be backed up in hard form onto my Dropbox. So I'm going to click OK there. Now the last thing that I want to do, and the benefit of really having the watched folder, is that it's going to allow us to automatically, without thinking about it, we can change the file names of our PDFs. So I'm going to go to Mendeley once again to Preferences and go to the same thing, File Organizer. And you're going to notice at the bottom it says Rename Document Files. So in the instance that you download something from PsycInfo or from JSTOR or from any other database service, generally the file name that that file is given is just a series of random numbers based upon the cataloging system of the database that you're working in. Now for us, that's not necessarily helpful because we can't necessarily look at all the PDFs and see what the content of that PDF is. And so generally when I want to share files with my colleagues or with my students, what I used to have to do before I started using this system is go through and manually name all of the files. So what this does is that if we download a PDF from any type of database or the internet or any source and drag it into Mendeley, it's automatically now going to rename the document file based upon whatever we want. So we can click this right here, and right now it says the file name is going to be the author, the year, and the title. And whether or not we want it hyphen separated, we can choose. I generally use underscore separated. That seems to work better when we're using multiple platforms, and it helps not cause any particular errors in the file itself. So I generally choose underscore separated. So now anytime I drag a PDF that I've downloaded with some obscure document file name into Mendeley, it's now automatically going to rename the document file by author and then the year and then the title, and then it's going to automatically drop it and save it into our Dropbox folder. So I'm going to click OK and do that. And the benefit of the watch folder now is that I can take any file that I am interested in and put it into the watch folder, and now it's going to automatically save that file name. And so it'll allow me the opportunity to play with that PDF later, whether or not I'm really interested in it or not. But generally, the way I used to work in the past was I'll just be interested in a topic, I'll download a bunch of PDFs that seem interesting, and then just throw them onto my desktop for now, and then I have to go back and see whether or not they're interesting or relevant, and then I would have to rename the names, and then I would have to have a whole separate organizational system to do that. Here we can just now automatically download any PDF of interest, put it into the watch folder, and then it's going to save it in the watched folder, and it'll automatically rename the files, so that way I can go back and look and see what's relevant with a lot more ease. And similarly, I can just take something and put it into the file folder, and then it'll upload everything into Mendeley for me with much more ease. So now we have our desktop that's connected to our not only to the cloud-based service for Mendeley, but all of our files now are connected to Dropbox, and that allows us much more flexibility with depending on where we're working. We don't have to worry about saving things to flash disks or saving or emailing anything to ourselves. We can automatically just open up the two clients online, and we can use the Mendeley online client and the Dropbox online client and still connect everything virtually the same way we would if we're using the local applications for Mendeley and to Dropbox on our folder. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and like the video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the link above, and make sure to check out some of our other videos. We'll see you again soon.